The Minister of Finance has come out to explain to Nigerians that $20 billion have been saved from the removal of fuel subsidy. Nigerians are now asking, where is the money? Where is the impact on the lives of Nigerians? What are they using this money for? Where are the infrastructures? What different initiatives are they putting in place to ease the suffering of the Nigerian masses? The pain ravaging the nation at the moment is severe and obvious to even the blind. The deaf can hear it clearly that there is suffering among Nigerians.
Joining us now is Vimbai Mutingiri-Ekpenyong with stories trending around the world. Hello, Vimbai.
Good morning, Dr. Bati. Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Rufai. Welcome back, Ayo. So good to see virtual world. You were enjoying yourself. And of course, congratulations to our celebrated, which award number? 80, 90, 100. We've lost count of all the awards.
But you go and so enjoy yourself for that.
Me? Well, I hope the powers that be. I know that I should be going on leave very soon.
The powers that be, let her go on leave.
Amen.
You know you are the man. You are the man.
We have so many stories to take today. So let's get straight into it. Let's find out what has been trending. Woo! A lot has been trending. A lot of focus on the economy as well. So we begin with the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, who has disclosed that the country's decision to remove the petrol subsidy and adopt market-based pricing for foreign exchange has saved the nation a whopping $20 billion US. So he said these funds are now being redirected into government's coffers for critical developmental sectors. In a similar development, the presidency has also released some statistics detailing that Nigeria has saved $7.5 billion from the removal of fuel subsidy. Now, these statements are coming just days after the National Assembly has approved a loan request of $2.2 billion from the presidency to partially finance a deficit of 9.7 trillion naira for the 2024 fiscal budget. So, ladies and gents, it's reported that we've saved all these billions of dollars thanks to the Tinubu reforms, but the little point of confusion is that we're still borrowing. So, Rufai, can you unpack this for us?
I would like to ask them, what did you save? You say you have saved. What did you save? Because we are still seeing borrowing and deficit. So the budget, the next budget cycle is going to have a deficit of 13.8 trillion. We've just borrowed 2.2 through Eurobond and Sukuk. The bond market we are going to, we are paying higher interest rates because of our bond status, our debt, it's junk status as we speak. So you are doing all of that. You are not seeing multiple spending on the lives of the citizens. You are not seeing roads fixed in most areas. And you're wondering what's happening. You are not seeing the effect of that money. They said they've paid conditional cash transfer. The question is, who are the people they've paid it to? Maybe those people can come up. At the same time, there's been a lot of borrowing. There's been a lot of corruption in the system. Inflation keeps hedging upwards, 33.8%. MPS will do their other review meetings. They probably might ramp up in terms of interest rates. So what's the effect? You say you saved 7.5 billion on fuel subsidy. That was how you claimed last year that subsidy had gone and you saved money on subsidy removal. Only for us to discover when NNPC was having their rigmarole that, they were still paying about 100 naira in subsidy or a little over 100 naira in subsidy. So where's the 7.5 billion? If you say you've made the savings, the budget is about 31 billion, or about 28, 29 billion dollars. That should be able to cater to the resource. We should be able to have less deficits. But the deficit keeps growing. Tilia Adebajo was here the other day, said we should sell off most of the assets, at least we should even raise about $50 billion. The debt has mounted from 89 trillion when Buhari came in to 134 trillion. When you add the other deficit to it, it bumps up to about close to 150 trillion. When you add ways and means that the president said he has cleared, which has not been cleared to it, it tops close to 200 trillion. So all we have been seeing is a regime of debts. Debt everywhere with nothing to show for it. Like I've always argued, if I saw commensurate development with the debt, I've got nothing wrong with the debts. It's not today they keep saying they've saved. They should show us the money.
Show us the money. Yeah,
very quickly. So, you know that chart you showed where they detailed some of the gains from these administrations on oil, in the oil and gas industry. One of the things I want just to mention is it's not about how much money is being saved, it's what has the money that's being saved been used for. That's what Nigerians want to know. So you can come out and say that we're saving $20 billion, we're saving $100 billion, but if we don't see the effect on the economy, the effect on infrastructure, the effect on the Nigerian people, then it doesn't mean anything to us. Take, for instance, during the Jonathan administration, when they had the proposal to remove fuel subsidy, they had the SHOPI. And it was meant to be a show-working investment, program whereby it was subsidy, reinvestment, and empowerment program. And they would tell you, okay, we want to use the money that we've saved from subsidy removal and channel it into this infrastructure, bridges, employment, tackling unemployment, midwifery, so a lot of things. But the challenge here for a number of people is that we had to bear the burden of subsidy removal with the talk around the fact that, it is for the good of Nigeria and Nigerians, but the people are not feeling it. And so it's not enough to give us data and statistics. That's not what the people understand. What we want to see is the tangible effect and impact of the removal of subsidy and the savings from the removal of subsidy on the Nigerian people. If not, we would agree with him that, okay, he's telling the truth, but then that the money is being either looted or being used for frivolous things. That's what would then make a conclusion as that, yes, $20 billion, as you've claimed, is being saved, and then we can't see anything. So it means that we're using it to renovate buildings, we're using it to pay for travel. If not, show us workings. That's what Nigerians want to know, not just how much you're saving.
Absolutely.
Okay, quickly, let me first interrogate some of the claims. You've quoted two things now. The Tinubu Reforms Tracker, which is prepared, I guess, by State House, a department in the State House, and then what Mr. Wale Edun said at the 100 days event of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation. Now, in terms of what has been saved with regard to removal of oil subsidy, you see a contradiction. The Tinubu Tracker is quoting $7.5 billion. Mr. Edun is quoting $20 billion. Now, who do we believe? It should be possible between the Ministry of Finance and the Office of the Coordinating Minister of the Economy and those who put out these trackers to coordinate. But how much coordination can you find if you have about 14 persons, 16 persons, different persons speaking at cross purposes for government? Now, let's take the tracker that you put on the board. The number 9, okay, it says full privatization of Port Harcourt refinery, I think, and something about the other refineries. I think it's number 9. Yes, full privatization of Port Harcourt refinery. Okay, is it not the same Port Harcourt refinery that they told us has been mechanically completed? For more than 1 year now, we have been hearing mechanical completion. What has been the effect of that? Now, if you look again there, they will say with full refining capacity being met, days of fuel queues will soon end. It's somewhere on the right side of the screen. Okay, which full refining capacity do we have? At the time when we're saying that, look, the Dangote refinery deserves all the support because it is what we're relying on. And people ask the question, what is happening to the refineries? And yet, you put out a statement like this, you are making that kind of a false claim. So these are the issues. As for the loan that they say they are going to take, now the National Assembly, within 48 hours, one of the fastest pieces of legislation in recent memory, approved 7.7, right? $7.7 billion, to be borrowed to cover local debt. External borrowing is to cover external borrowing. But when you look at the total debt profile, to fund deficit, you are talking of trillions of money. The question is, this money that they want to borrow, 2024 fiscal year, is almost at an end. In fact, by now, we should have had the submissions for 2025 budget. What is the claim? That these monies will be spent on capital projects. Please, where are these capital projects? Where are these capital projects? And the savings, so-called savings from fuel subsidy, what has it been used for? So the question is, I go back to Mr. Peter Obi's point again. when he says borrowing is not the problem, but you don't borrow for consumption. You don't borrow to buy exotic SUVs. You don't borrow to buy yachts.
Jets.
You don't borrow to change jet. If you borrow and you use it for real concrete things that Nigerians can benefit from. Yeah. After all, we're told that part of the gains of the oil subsidy removal is that states now get more money.
Yes.
And why is it that you go around some of these states, serious erosion problem in the southeast, other problems in the north in terms of desert encroachment? What have these governors done with the money that they have received?
Absolutely.
These are the key issues that we should be addressing.
Absolutely. Very well said, Dr. Abati. And of course, we're still talking about the oil sector. That's a big conversation this moment. So, you know, in another development relating to the oil sector, the General Overseer of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, recently added his voice to speak out against those who are working against the success of the Dangote oil refinery. Let's listen to what he had to say.
God raised up somebody who said he will build a refinery on his own. He did. That if all the government homes are not working, at least his own will work. And all of a sudden we heard that for his refinery, he has to import crude oil from America. We will take crude oil to America, and this man will go and bring it back. Because some people said they will not give him crude oil. Some of us prayed, we cried to God. God intervened. They said, we'll give him crude oil, but we will decide how much he will sell. And just in case you don't believe me, look at the newspaper of, is it Wednesday? Some people said they will sue the man who asked the law court to compel him to agree to their request. They said because they must keep on importing oil from abroad.
Well, some very good points made there. Now, of course, we know that Dangote has reached a deal with the oil marketers, but there's still an impasse with regards to the Naira for crude deal with the NNPC, because NNPC is yet to fully honor their commitment of cargo supplies to the Dangote refinery. So, you know, there's still a lot happening with regards to our perception that the Dangote refinery should be our saving grace, but not quite playing out in reality.
Please, VCL, put up that chart again. Because it was part of the things they put in that chart. That please put up
crude for Naira.
No, crude for Naira. Where is the crude for Naira? Naira purchase of PMS reducing pressure on forex, and they have not met their quota to the Dangote refinery. So when Dangote, because his refinery needs to run, now go and get oil from other sources, he ramps up his cost, and you expect him to do. The question we should ask NNPC, well, you see, when you look at full privatization of the NNPC has no gravitas to be talking to us about privatization. They should account for the over 2 billion they spent on the refinery. Did we spend that money to now privatize it? What happens to the workability of the refinery? And the same man that has been able to put his resources that take a $20 billion bet on Nigeria, apart from the $20 billion bet, pays about over 2 to 3 billion to be able to get crude products to refine on a monthly basis. You are now trying to frustrate that man because you are used to all the shenanigans of the business before. No, now, it's not done. I totally support the Adeboye on that. Many other things I've disagreed with him. His comments on the Tinubu economy, I said no, he was not saying it right. But on this, I totally support him.
It was practical.
Because this is practical national pride at a time like this. Ooh, so it shows that, yes, it has to be national pride. Yeah. Dangote is the pride of Nigeria. Anybody that doesn't like what I said just now should forget it. He decided to invest. Is it not in this country people steal money and go and put it in Sockaway tanks, Shalanga? Or they put it in Swiss bank? For whatever is worth, he put this money in this country. There are many billionaires that even have more money that can't do what Dangote has done. They will never invest and take a chance on this country. It's a pride of Nigeria. If you are saying the only man that has a working refinery in this country, producing PMS of this capacity, is it not Dangote? It's not the pride of Nigeria. So anybody that doesn't want to take that fact, they should not internalize that fact. If I know this thing I've said is going to pain some people, but I speak it is the truth, as far as I'm concerned. So please, we can only support him and ensure that all of those people that are performing this cabalocracy can stop, especially any mortar connection in any corner.
Rufai, I want us to focus on national pride for our next story, which has sparked a big debate online about what it means to be patriotic and how far we are allowed or we should be criticizing the situation in our country without being unpatriotic. So Afrobeat sensation Davido has advised Black Americans against relocating to Nigeria, citing the country's economy is, I quote, "economy is in shambles." He made these comments on the Big Homie's House podcast, and this comes amid speculation that some Black Americans are contemplating leaving the United States following Donald Trump's electoral victory. This has elicited several responses and a lot of debate. The former aide of former President Muhammadu Buhari, Bashir Ahmed, reacted on his official X handle, and he said, "Selling out your country from foreign soil is so disappointing and unpatriotic. Public figures like Davido should know that, and they should act and be seen as good ambassadors for Nigeria wherever they find themselves." However, another user commented and said, "Is the economy in shambles or not? You can be honest and also be patriotic at the same time." Ayo, your take on this?
Yeah. I think it's a very difficult, to balance it, because when you're asked the question and you can hear the passion and the pain in his voice. First of all, let me say that Davido is one of our biggest ambassadors. Through his music, remember when he had his wedding, he said he was very deliberate about praised him that he could have done it anywhere in the world, but he chose to get married here. The amount of investment for local businesses, showcasing Nigerian culture to the world, and how that positively impacts us. When he was on this interview, I think he was too blunt and too honest for a man who is recognized or is supposed to be an ambassador to Nigeria. A number of the things that he said, were they true? Are they false? A number of the things, sadly, there's an element of truth in what he said. The only thing is that when you go outside, you want to always represent your country in a positive light, irrespective. We can talk about amongst these things amongst ourselves. We can talk about these things amongst ourselves. But when we go out, we want to only project the positive image. And I think he exaggerated a bit too much by saying, "Oh, why are they coming back home?" This is a man who comes home very frequently, has enjoyed, the goodwill of Nigerians. We buy his music. A lot of contribution to the wealth that he enjoys today is from Nigerian pockets. So these are some of the things that I'll just highlight. But as a whole, I don't want people to just blacklist him and cancel him for this. Davido has done a lot in trying to project a positive image of Nigeria in many ways. But I want to also say that it's become too easy for people, especially when you go abroad, to push down and tear down and speak down on the nation. We're just talking about Kemi Badenoch, who I don't think she identifies as Nigerian anyway.
She does not.
But how it's so
more
easy.
British than the British.
Yeah, sometimes it's easier just to play to the gallery, to speak down or talk low. Every country has its problem, including America. There's corruption in America and the UK. There are a lot of bad things that happen in these countries, but I was shocked, Vimba, when I went to Atlanta. If you see the homeless, let me not say anything so I don't spoil their country for them. But it's just to say that they are very deliberate about what they show the world about their country. So maybe to just encourage people who have a large following and great influence to be very careful about what they say about Nigeria. At the end of the day, we are the ambassadors. Nobody can talk about your country as much as you can.
Absolutely. Dr. Bati, very quickly, in Zimbabwe we have the Patriot Act, which says that if you travel abroad and you decampaign your country, it's actually a criminal offense. But however, people are saying that Davido's father invests heavily in Nigeria. His uncle is also a governor. So you're saying in this talk about leadership, because at the end of the statement he said, oh, the leadership is also bad. People are saying, but your family is very influential and in a position of leadership. With just a few seconds before we move on.
People have been criticizing Davido. I think they're unfair to him. As a citizen, he has every right to express an opinion. As an artist, he's also, involved in the use of music, song, as satire, as social commentary. So he has an opinion like everyone else. And he's saying that, look, Trump, yes, he's in America. He's going to take over in January. People will say, oh, maybe I should leave America and come back home. What are they coming back to? That's what he's saying. That the economy is tough, everything is hard. Is he not saying the truth? Electricity is not available. You live in a band A network, but you probably get electricity for band 0 and all of that. So in terms of facts that he presented in that conversation, it was very clear. And people were advising him that he should be a good ambassador which better ambassador can we think of other than people like Davido, like, all the artists who are doing excellently well, Rema, Burna Boy, these are the people advertising Nigeria very well and putting Nigeria on the map. So their patriotism cannot be questioned. And in spite of all of this, Davido has dual citizenship, American and Nigeria. He contributes a lot. To celebrate his birthday, he has announced another 300 million, contribution. But he comes home, he says when he films here, he doesn't show, the bad parts. But he's just saying, things are hard in Nigeria. Isn't that what all of us are saying? But just to summarize, I remember the 1989 song by Professor Wale Soyinka. I love my country, I no go lie. Inside them, I go live and die. You push me, you push them, I no go. That's to your patriotism. You also have a sense of patriotism.
I love it. I love it.
Everything you do for Nigeria.
Fine, we're going to get to sing. We're going to get to sing. Trust me, there's a lovely song that we're going to get to sing, learn and sing, as we take our last story, where last week a false rumor circulated on social media stating the purported death of celebrated Nigerian entrepreneur Dr. Mike Adenuga. The false information quickly gathered momentum on social media, with various users questioning if it could be true, and some handles even going as far as posting Mike Adenuga's portrait as an obituary. In his article this morning, journalist Lasisi Olagunju of Nigerian Tribune reflects on the phenomenon of fake news, especially concerning false proclamations of death. But this is not unique to the digital era of fake news on social media. There was a similar hoax shared about Nigeria's first president, Dr. Nnamdi Kanu, in 1989, where it was said that he even read his own obituary while sitting in his study in Onitsha, Anambra State. However, renowned Nigerian musician Dr. Ebenezer Obey, aka Chief Commander, has released a song in light of this entire debacle, which he has personally and exclusively shared with Arise News.
Irọ́ pátápátá ni wọ́n ní Dr. Mike Adenuga ti kú. Irọ́ pátápátá ni wọ́n ní Dr. Mike Adenuga ti kú. Ẹ̀yin òpùrọ́ o, ẹ jẹ́ lọ yẹ ràn bá o. Ẹ̀yin òpùrọ́ o, ẹ jẹ́ lọ yẹ ràn bá o. Mike Adenuga Adeniyi Ìṣọ̀lá òkú ó ń bẹ láyé. Mike Adenuga Adeniyi Ìṣọ̀lá òkú ó ń bẹ láyé. Ẹ má ronú kú sọ́dẹ́nuga yìí o. Ayé ló wà Adenuga òkú. Ayé ló wà Adenuga òkú lọ́dún. Ọ̀rẹ́ aláìní olùrànlọ́wọ́ aráyé. Ayé ló wà Adenuga òkú. Ayé ló wà. Aṣọre máṣíkà olówó tó fowó ṣàánú. Ayé ló wà Adenuga òkú. Ayé ló wà. Ẹ má ronú kú s'Adenuga. Ayé ló wà Adenuga òkú. Ìṣọ̀lá Adenuga mi o. Olúwa tó mú ẹ dàgbà, á fún ẹ lẹ́mìí gígùn o. Ìṣọ̀lá Adenuga mi o. Olúwa tó mú ẹ dàgbà, á fún ẹ lẹ́mìí gígùn o. Ara líle, àlàáfíà tó péye, kiri ló gbogbo òdì. Ara líle, àlàáfíà tó péye, kiri ló lógójì. Wọ́n dàgbàlagbà, ẹ̀mí gígùn rẹpẹtẹ. Adenuga mi Ìṣọ̀lá. Olúwa tó mú ẹ dàgbà, á fún ẹ lẹ́mìí gígùn o. Adenuga Olúgbẹ̀mí Ìṣọ̀lá.
Olúwa tó mú ẹ dàgbà, á fún ẹ lẹ́mí gígùn o.
Aṣọre Máṣíkà.
Olúwa tó fowó ṣàánú.
Aṣọre Máṣíkà.
Olúwa tó fowó ṣàánú.
Ó ṣe fótílé, ó ṣe fàlejò. Ní Nàìjíríà, Áfíríkà àti gbogbo àgbáyé. Ẹni ro kúrò ẹ o.
Onítàn wá forí ẹgbẹ́.
So this is an awesome opportunity for me to learn some Yoruba and of course for us to unpack the phenomenon of fake news, which is not new, which has been happening. And I loved the article. I hope you get a chance to read it, where he begins by talking about a journalist who had, reported the death of an Oba and so forth. So, fake news is not new. However, we have to be more responsible now because this thing that we hold is very powerful and makes things go much further.
So I'll tell you a very interesting story about fake news and what it led to. Two brothers, Alfred and Ludwig, had built a very big industry on super tankers, and they were transporting a lot of oil. But in his earlier life, Alfred had invented the dynamite. And when Ludwig died, there was a story that ran that was saying the merchant of death is dead. And Alfred felt that if he had died, that was how he would have been remembered. So that was what made Alfred take most of the money he made from his supertanker business to set up something called the Nobel Prize today. His name, Alfred, his last name, Nobel. So it just shows you, fake news, there constantly be stories about people and say they have died and these people have not died. The rumor mongers should please stop whatever they're doing as regards Adenuga. Adenuga too is one of the pride of this country. He's built a business, taking a bet on this country, constantly invested here. And we're happy he's here and he's doing very well.
Yeah. When you're talking about the pride of Nigeria, Dangote being one of them, Adenuga is one of them as well. Massive investments in the business sector. You can imagine the number of lives, I dare say destiny, tied to his conglomerates in terms of people he's been able to employ, lives he's been able to affect, and the Nigerian economy as well. So it was quite sad to see that some mischievous people, for whatever reason, decided to post out this fake news, and thankfully it was nipped in the bud very quickly, and it was debunked with, I think it was Mr. Adele Momodu who came out first to say that it was fake news, and he had spoken to him, so it was good to hear that news debunked. But like you said, it just highlights the fact that when news like this breaks, check again before spreading, before passing on the information. But thank God he's alive and hale and hearty, and great to see that just after he celebrated his daughter's wedding, traditional marriage ceremony. We don't often see him, but he was there, with his friends. It was great to see that, and thanks to the commander himself, Ebenezer Obey, for this tribute.
Okay, very quick things. There is this folk belief among the Yorubas that when you announce a man's death prematurely, and he's not dead, what you are in fact doing invariably is wishing him long life. And we want to wish Otumba Mike Adenuga, long life, greater prosperity, even if you may think one of the richest men in the world, he's already a prosperous man. But we wish him many more years of service to humanity, one of the major patriots that Nigeria can boast of. But Lasisi Olagunju, Dr. Lasisi Olagunju, in Tribune today, Nigerian Tribune, in his column Monday Lines, already dealt with this issue at length about the threat of fake news, killing people by media. That's not part of our responsibility to commit murder by just murdering people. The classical case of Zeke that you referred to was on November 8, 1989. In fact, a burial committee had already been established. NTA ran a documentary, The Life and Times of Zeke. Columnists in New Nigerian were already writing about the achievements of Zeke and his life and times. And yet this man was in his study working on a book. So that's how bad. Some of the members of the burial committee, a burial committee was set up Some of the members of that burial committee died before the inimitable, Chief Nnamdi Kanu, the Owele of Onitsha, the spirit of Africa, great nationalist. So this is a lesson that everybody should learn, particularly those people who carry miserable phones around, and are quick to just spread misinformation. Anyway, thank you, Bimbai. I'm told we've run out of time.
Yes, we have, but this was fantastic. Thank you so much for a great session on What's Trending.
The removal of fuel subsidy, the reckless removal of fuel subsidy by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu automatically launched the nation into economic shambles. Immediately he made that announcement, everything changed negatively. To date, Nigeria's economy has not been able to gain stability nor take the normal shape of things, the same way it was under former President Muhammadu Buhari. It now seems like Muhammadu Buhari is now an angel. Many Nigerians have stated clearly that they are now missing the former president. This is due to the current economic situation of the country. Nigerians are suffering. Hunger is ravaging the land. Poverty rate is on the increase. It has never been this bad. According to many political analysts, it has never been this bad in the last 30 years of the Nigerians' existence.